Alright. Alright, everybody. Hi. I'm at work by myself, but I still do the social distancing. If you get a chance to swing by our website, we have these NetGator face covers. Pretty neat. I don't sell anybody anything. I haven't went and bought myself. I got a lot of work to do, so I just wanted to make this video while I worked, because I tend to ramble, and being at work by yourself, you don't really get a chance to talk to anybody, and that kind of drives you mad. So I'm probably not going to be looking at the camera much, because I'm actually working on building a purchase order for a bunch of radio equipment and getting that purchased and shipped out for our Navy family. But I wanted to talk about something yesterday. Cody Fernandez from Jack Irons put out a tweet. It was a tweet made in frustration about not getting funded, and I got tagged in it by Chicken Sith, and Edwin Boyette was in the thread, and pretty much we were talking about different methodologies of getting funded through Kickstarter, Indiegogo, blah blah blah. I have a methodology through that's kind of it's amalgam, right? It's like Patreon plus my Shopify storefront with a combination of like drop shipping and print on demand. Just so everybody knows, I have shared this information a number of times with a number of different creators, and out of frustration, like when I responded to that series of tweets, I probably came off like a dick, but it really wasn't that. So I'm gonna openly apologize to Cody, saying that, hey man, I didn't mean to go in there super hot, super spicy, but you've seen the chats, the group chats where people have asked me for advice. I've given the advice, I've gotten blown off, and then here we are months later after months and months and years later, after their books are late, or they're having issues with their printer, or whatever else. It's Brian, about that thing you were talking about doing, how did you do that? Well, yeah, that kind of like pisses me off, because my methodology is one of those where it requires a hefty upfront investment, but it also teaches you a lot about budgeting and managing a project. So I have for my project, for like the Rags Patreon project, I have a minimum number that I need to hit so I can keep Luigi drawing and Raven coloring. If that amount doesn't happen, then we can't produce anything, or I'm coming out of pocket for it. So with that in mind, I played with the numbers just enough to where I can always meet that minimum amount and keep the production going. And once I got that on a steady flow, I moved on to the next thing. So my foundation isn't really you have to use Patreon or you have to do drop shipping, but it was more like laying the foundation and network so you can expand and move into other things. One of the few people that actually listened to me was Dan Sacro of the Mythoverse guys. And even within the Mythoverse guys, we share a lot of stuff. Like, oh, hey, I got this. I found this new thing. You should do it. Just like I found these NetGators, and I shot like a quick message to Dan, like, hey, yo, check this out. New NetGators. I'm about to do lunch bags. I'm about to do lunch bags here pretty soon. Once I get like a nice sample of it. But I message that to Dan, and Dan's like, oh sweet, I'm on it, and then he goes and does this thing. And I understand, they're a lot more fun than Rags is, but it's kind of not the point. The point is, if you're hungry for it and you really want it, where'd you go? RS Romeo Sierra Bravo. If you're hungry for it, you'll find a way to get it. And my frustration isn't that people don't listen to me or that they don't take my advice. That's really not it. The frustration is actually in, the excuse of, this is why I can't do it. Or there's, it's just the excuse. I can't do that, or that's just too much. That's too much work. That's too much work. That's too much work. Well, yeah, these comics is fucking work, right? Anything you do, whether it's a hobby, it's going to be some sort of work, right? And if you don't put in the fucking work, how are you going to ask people to, invest their money in giving you your money and to make your project happen? Because obviously, if you're afraid of the work, you really don't give a shit about your project or other people's money. And that's the reason why I set myself up the way I did. I put my back to the wall and said, hey, I'm going to be doing this, and I'm going to be constantly producing something. If you want to back us and help us out, here's your options of doing it. And if we don't produce anything, or if it's not to your liking, you're free to leave. If you want your money back, hit us up. We'll refund you. We have no problems doing that. We just ask that you be polite about it. This is kind of where my customer service takes a hit sometimes. I'm not going to get it right all the time. That's because I'm a human being. It's just how I'm wired too. That, if you come at me hot and spicy, I will respond to you hot and spicy back. But I will always do my best to make sure that you get what you paid for. But that's not the talk today. But it's all about, putting the time and work and effort into doing shit. I know some creators are already hooked up with publishers, right? And so they're very limited into what they can and can't do as far as merch is concerned. Or they have to wait for the publisher to do the printing of their books, or they have to wait for the publisher to do printing of their there you go, prints and posters and shit. That was kind of one of the things that I immediately took control over. I made sure that I had everything Rags related. If it was going to be any sort of merch, I had control over that. And it's very important that I did. And that was because I knew that I was going to be dumping a lot of money in getting the artwork done, getting the artwork done, getting the coloring done, getting the printing done. And a way to get some extra residual income off of that was to start making merch. Like, hey, these little Dunny Skull neck gaiters, right? And there's like other things that I did. I went and bought a Photoshop package, and I learned Photoshop. I went ahead and I got the Shopify store, and it's like $30 a month. And some people, yes, I understand you can't afford $30 a month, but if you're running these Kickstarter campaigns, you're going to the Indiegogo campaigns, you should probably set aside some money for yourself and budget for these things. This is where project management comes into play, where you really just need to figure out what your means are, budget around that, set up a minimum, and try to focus your project around meeting those minimums. And when you exceed those minimums, expand your goals. Expand your goals so that just always have stagger your goals. Don't ever shoot for your bottom tier goal. Should never be $10,000. That should be somewhere higher. Your bottom tier goal should be the minimum that it takes to get whatever it takes to pay your artists and colorists to get one page done. That's your minimum. I did mine different. What's the minimum I need to get 5 pages done? And I went with that. I know we get shit on for having the uncensored version and the censored version, and there's a reason behind this. We put out the censored version, right, digitally at first, and the thought process behind that was one of many. Was that, hey, if we can sell 500 of these at 99 cents, that's roughly about $500, $4.99, right? If we hit that minimum number, then we take that money and we just reinvest it back in the book, and we can get more pages done faster. Thankfully, with Patreon now, it can just pay Luigi for the pages and just sit back and relax. And then we also took care of our own printing and shipping. We do sometimes do the print on demand stuff. I'm trying to step away from that now that I got a better battle rhythm going. But let's see, ale. Sorry, 600. Boop, bam. All right. So there's is that shelf 6? That was not shelf 6. That was shelf 4. So there's just a lot of yeah, over to 57. Boom. Boom. Commit. Jesus. So there was so we set the price at 99 cents. And we said like, hey, if we can get 500 of these sold, and then we can see that, hey, there's a demand for it. And we just want to set minimum demand. Like if we just saw this minimum, we would do more. And it was very important to, set these minimum goals so that like, hey, if I meet this minimum, I can do more. And then you build off of that. Yeah. And so that takes, kind of negotiating between you and your artist, figuring out like, hey, do you want all the payment up front? Are you good with monthly? And just finding a way to get your project managed and set up the right way. Because you have a good foundation, you should be able to recover from setbacks and failures and whatever else. Another thing I see, and it's kind of frustrating, is somebody will come up and ask me for like, hey, how's your stuff set up? And like, oh, hey, you know what? I'll send you a private link to my Discord. You'll see my Discord server, how that's set up. Come in, check out all the channels, see how I have it set up. And actually, I'm going to start making a template here pretty soon so everyone can use that. But, you set up these templates, you set up these bots, you do this, and it's just fire and forget. And you set yourself up to be fire and forget, and so things that are, can be easily managed. And one of the things is like, I keep hearing is like, okay, yeah, well, we haven't started yet, and we're still looking for stuff, but we'll do that later. And that's really the thing that pisses me off. As well as the excuse of like, oh, well, I can't do that. It's like, hey, start now. If you're planning to do a graphic novel, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not this year, maybe next year, start that shit now. Get your foundation planned out now. When we were working on Rags, we had, it took us 2 years to get to the point where, hey, we're going to start drawing now. And initially, and you'll hear Tim Lim praise me for this every now and again, but I was all about merch first. Like, hey, I'm just selling merch. Oh, that's my guy. 1 second. All right, we're back. Just got some shit turned in. So yeah, it took us 2 years before we finally got to drawing, and I went ahead and I just started doing merch first. We started doing pinups, posters, pins, all this shit. It took a while before I discovered everything. Fucking FX 40. Bam. From scatterbrain. But it took us a while to set all this up, and so we did the merch first, and we used that money to pay Luigi to draw more and more and more, and it was just, we made it so it just kept funding itself, and it hurt our pocketbook less. And I've taught that technique to so many people, and I've told everybody, hey, this is how you do it. You should go it this way, yada, yada. And we get blown off, or we get told like, well, I'm gonna do it a different way, and then you have people that go do a different way and they find success, which, hey, great on you, keep doing that. It's not to shit on you, but like, look, if you found a method that works for you, high five, right? That's all this is. It's just sharing knowledge so that it's it's everyone's a success. 57 return. So, you want people to be successful in this, because, like, whether or not, like, you hate somebody or you don't like that work, like say you hate or dislike, Ethan Van Sciver, right? You would still want Ethan Van Sciver to succeed, because the more successful he is, the better it's for everybody. And that might be like a weird way of thinking on my behalf, but that's fine. I like to look at everything from the bigger picture, right? Indie comics and comics in general, it's a very small ecosystem. So having everybody be as successful as you possibly can make them doesn't just benefit one group or the other. It benefits everybody, right? And when you fail, it hurts everybody. Because, like, say you create a Indiegogo campaign and then you dip out for 2 years, and then you come back like, oh yeah, by the way, here's my update. I haven't updated anything in 2 years. People are going to be pissed. So the next campaign that comes out, and it's going to be a creator who, is going to deliver, they got all their ducks in a row, they're probably not going to get funded because, hey, you're being a dick. So I try to not look at these things selfishly. I try to look at these things as how does this benefit, the community as a whole? Some things do, some things don't. And you just got to figure out what it is. But anyway, like I was saying, my frustration comes from, people ask me how I do things, me telling them and explaining them how I do things, getting blown off, then them coming back months or years later, ask me the same shit. And it's very annoying. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. I'm just, oh, duh. And it's very, very frustrating to have, to repeat yourself over and over and over again. And, I want nothing but success for anybody and their projects, but at the same time, you gotta be able, you gotta want to put in the work, right? And what I'm seeing is a lot of creators are fucking lazy. Like, and there's really no nice way to put it, but you're absolutely fucking lazy. You just want to do one thing, let people give you money, dip out for fucking ever, fuck off on Twitter, fuck off on YouTube, fuck off and do whatever else, and then, oh yeah, by the way, I that project I did, yeah, I probably should go finish that. And I feel that's inherently irresponsible and disrespectful, not to just the people that backed you, but to the other creators who are out there hustling and trying to bring something cool, at least as far as they're concerned, bring something cool to the world. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the lazier people get, because it's not easy, the more bam. Anyway, the lazier you are, the more it hurts. Not just you, it hurts everybody. So I want people to think about this. When you're asking a creator for advice or somebody for advice, please just take it to heart and use it. Or if you're not going to use it, don't fucking ask for advice. If you don't know how to letter, learn how to fucking letter, or look to hire a letterer, right? If you don't know how to format pages, ask, or learn how to fucking do it. It's a little difficult, but not that hard. If you guys don't know, I work 20-hour days, 17 to 20-hour days. And I would say the last 5 hours are me teaching myself Photoshop, teaching myself how to letter better, teaching myself how to clean up images in Photoshop, manipulate things, make better posters, make better images, more graphic design. I just teach myself that right before I go to bed. And I know what my limits are, and I try to work around my limitations to make my product better. There's going to be people out there that are way more talented than me, that have a better presentation than me and the team. That's fine. More power to them. You know, that's great. But all I'm saying is, if you're not willing to put in the work to make your product the best that you can be and make your brand the best that you can be, then you probably shouldn't be fucking creating. It's hard to hear, but that's the case. And you also hear me say this too. Like, I really hate how some Kickstarters and Indiegogos do not update that often. There's a few. You know, it's March. I think March 20. Yeah, it might have been the last 3 weeks of March is when the last update went out, and that seriously fucking frustrates me, because like, okay, you're shit funded. Now where's the status of it? And you have to sit there in limbo wondering where shit is at. And this is one of the things I liked about Patreon, the platform, not so much the politics, but it's just one of the things I liked where, hey, every time something came in, I could post an update, drop a paragraph, and it was really easy. You got the email, and then I could also link that update with Discord and just bam, 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 bam. I did a fake Indiegogo, which got successfully funded, and I'll never do that again because that was a fucking pain in the ass. But doing updates through Indiegogo was terrible, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure I would ever want to go through that ever again. Safeways. Oh, I did put that in the system. Yay, go Brian. So, yeah, I'm never do that again. But still, it's there, and I really hate the fact that some creators don't utilize the tools on their platform to keep their backers or customers more informed. It's really, really fucking irritating, but you know, it is what it is. Anyway, that's kind of my gonna for today. I'm gotta go lift some shit. Yep. Yeah, I gotta go lift some shit, but that's my rant for the day. Just, you know, take it for what it's worth. I'm not trying to hate on anybody or call anybody out specifically, but it's just like there's these things I see where you'll have creators crying like, why can't I get funded? Why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? And it's like, well, the tools are out there. They're available. You're just refusing to take advantage of it because, oh, well, that's work. I don't want to do all that work. Well, stop being fucking lazy, and you might be able to get those things done. And again, you know, when I start pointing people towards Shopify, like, hey, look, you can use Shopify. You don't even have to use Shopify. There's Etsy. There's other platforms that are probably better. But the point is, find a platform, make that $20 a month, $30 a month investment, look for the free apps, use them, and use that to connect with your fan base, your customers. And hey, who knows, you might find something that's cool, and you might be able to share that with another creator, help them succeed. And then what happens is, hey, what's the secret to your success? Oh, hey, this dude over here, they helped me out. So, again, well, not really again, but yeah, that's kind of where I come from in all this. It's not to make a bunch of fucking money. It's just I want to be able to help as many people succeed as I possibly can. And it's just frustrating to see another creator sitting there in frustration, wondering why they can't get their project funded. And it's like, man, you have the tools available, you're just not using them, either being hard-headed or being lazy or whatever else. You know, there's many different variations to that. It's more nuanced than how I can probably describe it because I'm sober, but you know, that's how I see it. And yeah, anyway, like, subscribe, blah blah blah. Y'all have a great day and stay safe, stay home, stay clean, and yeah, have a good one.